In just the past 8 years, Genesis has risen from the shadow of Hyundai and now stands toe-to-toe with the top-tier German and Japanese competition in the luxury car market. But there is still one segment that Genesis has yet to conquer, the luxury sports sedan. With models like the M3 and AMG C63 from Germany, and now the fantastic CT4V Blackwing from the US, this is a tough field to crack, and Genesis finally has an answer. Hey, I'm Creech, and this is Creech and Cars. Today, I'll be giving you a look at the all-new Genesis G70 Track Day Special, an ultra-high performance edition of the compact G70 sedan built for the Nürburgring. Let's start on the exterior, which shows the G70 in a wildly different form from what we're used to seeing, although it's definitely still recognizable as a G70. And by the way, I do think the G70, as well as the rest of Genesis's lineup, does look very nice and luxuriously elegant. Although Genesis definitely has a lot of work to do to make the model look sportier. So a little less than a year ago, Genesis debuted the G70 Track Taxi Nordschleife as a higher performance version of the G70 that isn't for sale, but people can pay to ride around the Nürburgring in this special model. The Track Taxi Nordschleife is painted in magma orange, and this is the color that will be sort of the main brand color for Magma, which is Genesis's upcoming performance brand set to rival the likes of M, V, and AMG. For this Track Day special version of the G70, Genesis has turned things up a few notches, starting with this matte black body and wheel color contrasted by the magma orange graphics. The headlights and fog lights have this unique racing inspired yellow-green color that looks a lot better than I would have thought. And I really wouldn't mind this on a production car if, of course, the regulators would approve it. In addition to these cosmetic upgrades, there are some visible aerodynamic changes like a larger grille, a lip and canards up front, and of course this massive rear wing. The Track Day Special also sits lower on these 19-inch rims and has a meaty quad exhaust. Genesis has yet to show off the interior of the G70 Track Day Special, so for now, let's look at the lesser Track Taxi version. And in the few clips I could find of this interior, there's really nothing spectacular. I do like this interior and just all of Genesis's interiors in general. They're very well done, they're very luxurious, but it doesn't appear that Genesis has done much to upgrade these Track Edition interiors over the standard models, which probably has more to do with the fact that these aren't really for sale. Still, hypothetically, to compete in this segment, Genesis would definitely need to throw in some bucket seats and a generous amount of Alcantara. I think something similar to this CT4V Blackwing interior would look really good, especially with some magma orange accenting. I like how the Cadillac's V and V Blackwing interiors still feel very luxurious. You still have that diamond quilting, and while there's definitely a lot of great technology, it doesn't feel overbearing. And especially with the manual transmissions, these Cadillac models still feel very analog and emotional, much more emotional than a lot of the competition. Unfortunately, Genesis hasn't touched on the specific performance boost that the Track Day Special has over the normal model, other than that it is based on the Track Taxi Edition, so it has at least the upgrades that that model has over the standard G70, which are as follows: a lowered suspension with a damper adjustment, extra brake ducts, extra heat shielding around the transmission lines, and upgraded tires. It's not a whole lot, and the Track Taxi still uses the top of the line 3.3 liter turbo V6 that's available with the standard model. This is a respectable engine that's capable of 368 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers are fine, but certainly not M3 territory, so it's unknown if this Track Day Special Edition features a different engine or a much differently tuned engine, at least. All of that's to say, much of this car is still shrouded in mystery, and there are a lot of questions you can ask about it. But I think there's really one question that matters at this point. That is, when will Genesis actually make a production rival to the M3, CT4V, Adalia? Let's start with this. The next generation of Genesis sedans is coming soon. All three sedans in the lineup debuted about 8 years ago, and in my opinion, they do still look and feel very good. Nonetheless, at this point, the next generation is due, and I think Genesis is waiting for this next generation in order to go all out with the Magma performance models. As holdovers / teasers for the time being, Genesis is doing stuff like this with the Track Taxi and the Track Day Special, along with the G80 Magma that will be limited to just 20 units in the UAE, so it's really not even a full production launch. All I can say for right now is that this is clear evidence that Genesis is warming up for a fast and aggressive launch of the Magma Performance sub-brand. I'm a huge fan of Genesis, and I'm excited to see what Genesis can do with these production Magma models. Genesis has risen to the top of the luxury market so quickly. Many reviewers have found the G90 to be a better car than the LS and 7 Series and A8, and very close, if not even better than the S-Class. So it's clear at this point that Genesis really knows how to do luxury, and this is the last test. If Genesis can really deliver with these Magma models, then it could become the top luxury brand for the foreseeable future. As excited as I am about these new Genesis models, and I'm looking forward to keep making new videos about the next generation of Genesises, I'm also just very excited to be back in general. I know I took a very long break there. Long story short, I just didn't have time for YouTube, but I've missed it a lot, and I'm going to keep uploading as much as I can. If you're new here on this channel, I talk about car news like this, as well as history and culture. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.